Hey everybody, it's time for another Redneck Review. Today we are in my wheelhouse again. We're going to be reviewing Thor, God of Thunder, number 15, part of the Accursed storyline. Give you a little background on this. Thor is chasing Malekith, the Dark Elf, and also the villain of the current Marvel Cinematic Universe, Malekith, who has declared war on all of the Dark Elves, which he also is a Dark Elf. He has decided that anyone who lives under the current Asgard, under the current authority of the Nine Realms, is his enemy. And he is going to punish all traitors. The Thor God of Thunder is a $39.99 book, so it's about the standard that's coming out here. As far as the story has gone so far, I've liked it. The story, I've liked it, but I think this book is far inferior to the previous title that came out with Thor, called Mighty Thor, which was also another, I'm a little biased, done by Matt Fraction, who is probably one of my favorite comic writers. But just so we give everyone a fair chance, we're going to jump right into Thor, God of Thunder, The Accursed, Part 3. If you would like me to do a review of the other parts of The Accursed, please leave your comments below. Alright. Here is a picture of the current Malekith. It is a little unclothed here in this particular picture, but it's not. I don't find it too overstated. Now we start off in Alheim, realm of the Light Elves, and it's this beautiful little fairy tale land covered with fairies and chocolates and giant mushrooms, stuff that's really cool, except for the Dark Elves who are coming to attack their sworn enemy, the Light Elves. But who should appear but Thor, and taking them down with one swipe of his hammer. And the famous line of Thor, "Have at thee." And apparently, he puts it, just like in the movie, he puts his hammer on this elf. He's this, enchanted hammer. Can't get off. And the other guy is just left to, the same guy with the hammer is being robbed by these, rest of these fairy tale creatures getting ready to be eaten, or they're beautiful creatures, but apparently they're not vegetarians. And the other one is spying on his giant dog and telling him to tear his face apart to Thor, and this dog doesn't really end his way. It is really not going to end this guy's way. So we see Thor still continuing to fight this Dark Elf. He tells him to come on, and he tells him, you're not the only one with a pet. One of Thor's faithful steeds, his war goats, come up and just pounds through this Dark Elf. And Thor, just this great little line here, it's kind of comical. "Well done, Tooth Gnasher. But no eating this one. You don't know where he's been." It's an awesome little bit of comedy there. It's very well drawn. I rather enjoy it. And we find all these, gnomes and fairies and pixies and poxies, whatever you call them, are getting ready to eat the other Dark Elf. So their work is done here. Thor is currently working with several representatives of the Nine Realms, called the League of Nine Realms. They had to have their own superhero team in the Nine Realms. So we have Thor talking with one of the Dark Elves who has come to his side. She's one that Malekith would consider one of the traitors. And we find out that Thor isn't particularly happy with this arrangement. There's a dwarf, a troll, a light elf, a dark elf, and he's just having a hard time, trolling time, keeping order together. One of the trolls wants to kill all the Dark Elves. There are good Dark Elves and there are bad Dark Elves. Anybody following Malekith is one of the bad ones. But anyone who's just trying to live their peace, the League is supposed to leave them alone. Thor and the Light Elf, who is trying to be a cowboy in this, it's kind of crazy. And one of the other the dark elf that's helping him are, still trying to come to grace. These people have spent years not liking each other. They only help each other out when there's a common goal, to be sure. We find out that Thor is, what they do best after every fight. We find him in a tavern. He's over here drinking. He's drinking this against this gigantic giant who is just pounding it away. And somehow Thor manages to outdrink him. So, for all you beer junkies that were watching this, yeah, Thor can hold his liquor. It's kind of funny. I don't drink anymore, but I'd love to go around with him. Anyway, you see him over here paying for it. Thor apparently has had enough and is leaving. The one of the Dark Elves, his companions, comes out there to find him. And we find Thor. This is really cool over here. We find him just sitting down, trying to think about how to go about his life in this new direction it's taking him. Thor remembers the first time, thinks about all the lessons in his life. He thinks about what his father Odin has taught him. He tells himself, I remembered the ways of being a man from my father. I remembered from my mother being kind and being a peacekeeper. I learned from my brother to be cunning and be trickery. But what do I do? How am I going to teach myself how to handle these other people? And we find him found by this new dark elf that he can do. That she thinks he can do this. So that he has to quit thinking about the past and how he's going to handle these people without on his own. He can't always rely on all the lessons he learned from Odin, Loki, and Freya. He has to learn how to be his own person, as it were. And they go off there over here kissing in a non-sexualized scene. I figured you'd like that, Lane. And they're being watched by a pixie and someone on the side. Apparently, it's Malekith, transformed as a woman. Why everyone in Asgard has to put on the woman suit, I don't know. But we find the page goes on to another village in Jotunheim, which is the land of the Dark Elves. They're trying to resettle their homeland, and they're being attacked by giants loyal to Malekith. He's riding a flying white tiger with bat wings, because he's a sorcerer and he can do these things. And he is just tearing it down because there's Dark Elves here. He tells them, anyone who doesn't serve the cause is a traitor. And we see Thor and his companions. They finally manage to catch up with him, and they're tearing through the Malekith's supposed army. One of the giants is apparently an archer, and his arrows are like mortar fire. He is just blowing through these people, and the only person they think they can stop him in the middle of this is Malekith. Here's a picture of Malekith getting ready to go up next. How he kills this guy is ridiculous, but kind of cool. I figure some of the other people in here might like it, especially you, Lane. You see him taking his arrow and just flinging it at him. I mean, he's giving Malekith this only way he can get up there. He has to jump up the arrow, jump on him, and he lands right in the giant's mouth. They're all like, ugh. What? They're like, what just happened? Is Malekith dead? Over here, I know. They look at the giant. There's not a mark on him, but all of a sudden you see him, and a sword pops out from his eye. Malekith knows. Comes out with this pretty good quick. Goodness me, for a giant, he had a remarkable tiny brain. I had to hack around forever just to find it. They've really painted him as really demented in this one. I've never read a story where Malekith was so sort of bloodthirsty and crazy. He wasn't even that way in the movie. But Thor tells him, for that you're not going to make it out of here, Dark Elf. And Malekith, tells him, yes, perhaps I should listen to the Light Elf than some tongue the horn, which it's a horn that calls for one thing. And now in Asgard, there are man-eating land giants, there are black-winded shadow giants, and warrior she-giants with spears that tuft the clouds. But since the beginning of time, there has always been one race of giants, more fearsome than all the rest. And can anyone guess? Ding, 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 ding. Frost giants. Malekith has made a deal with the Frost giants. And now our new League of the Nine Realms is got to stop Frost giants too. That's part 3. It's a very short story, not too long on the middle. $3.99 book is I'm going to take a point off for that because it's really only worth $2.99. The actual story, as far as it being a tie-in to a little arc, I'm going to give it a 4. And the art, I'm going to give a 3, just because I don't like this particular style of art in comparison with some of the other stuff they've done with Thor. It lends itself well to this story. And anyone else might like it. But me, I just prefer not so dark a color. I don't want him to look like he's going to come out of the page. I want it to be a comic cartoon, sort of. I want it to be just, better, something I can look at and it's going to be better than what's on the TV screen. This, I feel like you could have done, it looks like an old Hobbit special. So, not bad, but altogether I'm going to give the story a 4 because it's a good story and it's part of a story. And there weren't very many ads. But for the actual art, I'm going to give it a 3. Just because I'm not a big fan of this art. It lends itself well. And, that's my take on it. So, guys, the Redneck review for this is a 4 on the story and a 3 on the art. If anytime my judgments are not what you like, leave me comments on there. Maybe, I need to look at it. And maybe you can explain to me why it needed to be this way. I love feedback, so please leave some down there. Thank you very much. This has been Robert for Redneck Reviews. Bye-bye.